Welcome everyone to Q2 Friday Braai Day, and we'll be continuing with our sequence of showing the SOLIDWORKS capabilities through the demonstration of some agricultural equipment. So we started off last time with frameworks and sheet metal related to the bush cutter that we did, and this time we're going to go into the next level, which is going to be around costing. How do we cost this project, and then into the drawings and bill of materials. So Danelle will start with costing, and then Ulrika will show us how the drawings and the bill of materials from one perspective can be created, and then I will jump in from the 3D experience side and show you how to do bill of materials there and some other things that you can do with the drawings and integration between Microsoft Excel, for example. So thank you. Thanks for joining. This is part 2 of our webinar series, and handing over to Danelle.
Thank you, Jason. So as mentioned, we're continuing with part 2 of the webinar series. And in the previous webinar that we did, I was working on a sheet metal box, as seen over here. And this same sheet metal box, I will be demonstrating how you can actually process what it would cost to manufacture a part like this in SOLIDWORKS. So I will go and type in my search bar costing. And it will open up in my task pane. So the costing will open up in the task pane over here, and this basically allows me to calculate an estimated value of what it would be to manufacture a part that I've designed in SOLIDWORKS. And of course, the numbers are very important. So you can see over here we have our own template that we've created. The default template that is included in SOLIDWORKS will be in US dollars. However, as you can see over here, ours is producing the template in rands. So when we go to the editor and I launch the template editor over here, we can go and specify some more information so that we can get as much detail as possible out of the costing results. So in the general tab over here, you can see that our currency is set to South African rands. And you can also set a specific markup for your accurate quoting, so you can add onto the cost, and that cost can be used later for sending quotes to clients. Okay, moving on to the materials tab. All of these tabs are editable, so you can go and add in any additional materials that are perhaps not there currently. For now, these are all the materials that I need for my specific part. Then moving on to thickness. So all of the tabs as it goes down are dependent on the previous one. So the thickness then will generate the different kinds of thicknesses according to the materials that I've listed in the previous tab. So you can see all the plain carbon steels here have their specific thicknesses, as well as the cost per unit for that specific material and the thickness related to that material. Moving on to operations, our operations are the types of processes that we apply to our sheet metal. And the first type that we have over here is cut. There are different types of cut methods. Currently, I have included plasma as well as water jet, and I will leave it on water jet for this cost estimation. Below over here, we can see it relates the different types of cut methods, as well as the material and the thicknesses, and then generates, and then you can go and insert the specific cost per millimeter for the cutting methods. Okay, when inserting your costs, if this is something that you're inserting yourself, please make sure that these are accurate, because again, the results will depend on these numbers that are inserted here. Then moving on to the bends tab, I have included a normal bend and a hem bend. And again, this all relates to the information that we have previously. So that is the material type, the thickness, and then it relates the bend method with the cost per bend. Then library features, I don't have any in here currently, but this will be for things like your louvers or anything that comes from your library. Then in your custom tab, we can see we have some things like painting, anodizing, and inspection. And you can select the type, whether it's per face or per part, and the cost per millimeter squared, for example, or per part, and the specified cost that you insert yourself there. And you decide how that cost is distributed, whether that is divided over the lot size or applied once per part. Then lastly, moving on to rules. This is where you can go ahead and specify any conditions regarding size, regarding material, in order to generate a cost. So for example, the first one over here is if a material is chosen, then add a cost. In other words, if a material is not chosen, a cost will not be added. Another example is if a weight is a certain size, then add a cost. So you can add limits on your weight, for example, not to go over a certain weight or to go under a certain weight. And as you can see, there are quite a few more examples over here. And you can choose which ones you want to use if you'd like to include these specifications. Okay, so that is the costing template editor. Now, if we move on back to the costing task pane, if we move back to the costing task pane, we'll see that there are places for us to go and specify the material that we're working on. So you can see mine has already been selected here. If I'd like to change it, I can. The thickness is auto-generated according to the part that you have designed. And the cost is included from your template. Moving down a little bit further, I can see here, I can specify the quantity of parts that will be made from this one specific part file. And I can again include my markup percentage, markup or discount percentage. When I have all of the information inserted and I'm ready to produce the results of the costing, I can click in this gray block below here where it says click to update. So give it a few seconds just to load the information. It will run all of its necessary tests. And once it is completed, it will then show you the estimated cost per part. So you can see mine is currently 1,004.89 Rand. And this arrow over here with the percentage indicates any comparisons of different costs that you have done one after the other. So if I change anything here, for example, if I change the number of parts, it will generate the cost estimates again, and I can see a comparison to the previous cost estimation and now the current one. So it's changed slightly. I now have 90 parts instead of 100, and the cost has gone up a little bit. Once I am happy with all of the information and the comparisons that I have done, I can see a summary down here below. The cost of the material, the cost of manufacturing, take note this is not including labor, and the cost of the markup according to the percentage that I added. If I would like to generate all of this information that I have in my results in a report, this bottom right icon here, if I hover over that, it says generate report. I can click on that. And this allows me to generate a detailed report according to the information that was generated. So over here, I can go and add in any company details. For example, we are AMP CAD CAM. And you can go and insert any more information there. And when you have inserted all of the relevant information accurately, then you can go ahead and click on Publish. So give it a couple of seconds to generate your report. You can choose whether or not you want for it to be in a Word document or in an Excel document. I have chosen for it to be in a Word document. Now that my costing report has generated, I can go and view it. I can see over here any customization that I've added will be included, as well as the information from the part file itself. So I can see the bent version of my sheet metal part, as well as the flattened version. Any material or costing information with regards to the part itself, as well as the quantity information, the estimated cost per part, including any of the comparisons, and the cost breakdown that we saw at the bottom of the task pane previously. On the next page, we have a lot more information with regards to the processes that are applied to the sheet metal itself. For example, in my part, I had bending and I had cutting. So you can see all of the setup costs as well as the process costs. And you will see the cost per cut as well and per bend. And you can see the totals of all of those as well. So now we have our report generated, and to conclude, it is a very useful tool to use your costing template and make use of all the information that is available to you so that you can produce accurate quotes that you can send out to your clients. And you can use this tool continuously in your business in order to speed up the process of quoting and make changes quickly without having to do massive calculations. Thank you, Jason.